Hi, we're Mel and Missy, respectfully a clinical mental health therapist and fear fighter life coach. But it goes beyond that. We are representatives of you.
Trashed It is a brand that helps women focus on their next level of freedom by getting rid of the emotional garbage in their lives, whether it's toxic relationships, thought patterns, stigmas, etc.
We represent mothers and single mothers, daughters, wives, and divorcees, business professionals, entrepreneurs, and even Christians and ministers of the gospel.
We're trashing it all.
Hey guys, it's your girl Mel.
And I'm Missy.
And we are back for another episode of Trashed It. So, it's cold outside.
Very cold.
Everywhere, I do think. Where I am, it was 60s one day, and by nightfall, we were in the 30s. And I know what's the weather like where you are?
Cold with the capital C. The past 2 days, of course, we've had a major winter storm. So we had ice and snow and more ice. So it's starting to finally thaw out. I think today's high was maybe like 25, 26. So it wasn't above freezing, but the sun was out. So you could see a little bit of a difference, of course, but all next week it's supposed to be in the mid 40s, upper 50s. So
that's better.
It is. But now you have to wait, with the flash flooding. So
yeah. So other than that, how are things?
All is well. I cannot complain.
Well, yay. Did you watch the Janet Jackson documentary yet?
I have not. I have not. I have been watching and binge watching my favorite Netflix shows. February was the month for some good shows.
Yay. So that being said, I am excited because our kids had their first opportunity to be on TV. Yeah. Actually, it wasn't recently, but when you're shooting a show or a movie or whatever, you're kind of not supposed to talk about it until it comes out, right? And so they shot it back in last summer, actually. And so they had the opportunity to be on Sweet Magnolias, which was really cool.
And it's my favorite show. Episode 6, and I can even give you the screenshots of when I saw them. I woke up early just to watch them.
That's so funny. Yes. But they were super excited, and it was really cool to be able to see that.
I don't really have an opinion, but I'm just saying.
I'm just waiting for winter to be over with. That's my opinion. That's all.
I'm the type person that I could do without winter altogether.
Understand. I do.
I don't need 4 seasons.
Yeah. Maybe the hotel, but not in what we're feeling, right?
Yeah,
not the environment.
Yeah, I don't need 4 seasons. I don't like winter. It doesn't like me particularly. I don't like anything about snow. I think I like the in-betweens, right? I like spring and fall.
Yeah. Spring and fall. Exactly. Same here. And I do love summer. I really do. I love the warmth. I love being outside.
I like the early summer.
Okay.
Early summer, and look, right after spring going into summer.
Yeah.
And late summer going into fall. That's my favorite.
Exactly. So you know what? When you retire, you probably need to find you a environment that is conducive to it.
Already working on it. So, what are we trashing today?
Well, today we are trashing all things relationship. Of course, we know that Valentine's Day, by the time this airs, of course, Valentine's Day will have been here and there, gone. But, just because some people might even still celebrate that whole week, considering that weekend will be after that. So we are trashing that, you know what? You do not have to have a mate for Valentine's Day. And I comfortably stated that. Yeah.
I can agree with that. I can agree. Can I share a secret?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even like Valentine's Day.
I don't either.
Like I don't really like to celebrate the traditional holidays in the sense of I like to celebrate Christmas because of the birth of Jesus. However, I don't really like Christmas like that because I think, okay, I want to celebrate Jesus all year, right? Because of who I am. I'm a Christian. I should celebrate him all the time.
Yeah.
My thoughts around Valentine's Day is, bruh, if you gotta wait to Valentine's Day to show me that you care, that's probably a great sign that this is not the right relationship, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't get bent out of shape when it comes to, oh, I didn't get anything from Valentine's Day. I don't really care. Like, buy me stuff all year. Show me you care.
Exactly.
All year.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I think for myself, I've never was a huge fan of it just because, I would get stuff for my kids, of course, but outside of if and when I was in a relationship, it didn't phase me. If you have to pay a 50% upcharge for some flowers on one particular day and a box of candy that I'm probably not going to eat because I don't like a lot of what's in those particular boxes, then like you just stated, there's a problem. But I think now, especially you're finding more women that are choosing to be single for whatever reason and just embracing the singleness and that you don't have to be with someone for this one particular day. Now that's one day out of 365 or 366, depending on if it's a leap year, right? And just knowing your worth and your value and what you bring to the table. Like that has always been, especially now in the season of my life, has been very important for me. I don't do anything special on that particular day just because it's Valentine's Day, because I do things for myself all the time. So again.
Do you think, have there ever been times though, like before you reached where you are now, you did want to have a mate and you did want to do all the things surrounding Valentine's Day?
You know what's crazy, Mel? I did not, for the reason why I have never been hung up on Valentine's Day. The one holiday that truly did something to me was 4th of July. I would be woe is me. I'm the only woman in the world that doesn't have someone, and I think it was just the thing where you saw couples gathering, going to picnics, I shouldn't say picnics, but, going to gatherings. Valentine's Day was neither here nor there for me. I could care less, but 4th of July. Oh, yes. My kids didn't even like to be around me on 4th of July.
Oh, dang.
Yes. It was that I do believe I was low key depressed on the 4th. And like the 5th, I was okay, but it was just the 4th. So I can honestly tell you that Valentine's Day did not faze me, and it still doesn't faze me.
I think the only time it phases me is has been due to the pressure from other people, right? You know how you have your girlfriends or your family or just people in general, and it's like, oh, what did you guys do for Valentine's Day? And it's like, so like kind of nothing. I mean, we went to dinner, but we do that all the time.
Exactly.
Or like he didn't get me roses, or because I don't like roses because I think they smell like boo-boo, right? But things like that, I think have sometimes made me apprehensive of like, well, maybe we should do more for Valentine's Day. But the reality is, we tend to do things throughout the year. Right. But yeah, I think those have been the times though that I have felt apprehensive about my stance or our stance as a couple on how we celebrate. Because, I think for me, I'm sometimes thinking, oh, what are they going to think? Right. Or when we didn't buy each other anything for Christmas. that's something we do a lot. Like we consciously decide like we're not buying each other anything for Christmas because usually I like to take trips.
Yeah.
You know, take me on the trip and then buy me some shoes, right?
Something. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I like. I don't want a new robe. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, that's not my love language. I think, yeah, the conversation.
And it's funny that, well, you said one key word was love language. We all have a love language, and you have to know what your particular love language is, even without a mate.
Now, how does that look?
The self-worth, the value, that's a love language. You know, taking care of yourself, checking in with yourself, making sure you're okay. Like today is my self-care day. And to me, that's a love language because I'm not neglecting myself.
Right.
And so, and it might sound quirky and out of the box, you know, like you just stated. Well, tell me about it. You know, how can you do that? You can do it. Yeah. I know my love language with people, but I also am now finding my love language with myself. And that has taken years of, you know, the mess and the hell that I've been going through and have went through to finally sit down on some things that, you know, I could have caused and maybe take away some things. I would just say this, learn from the takeaways. Yeah. And you have to learn from the takeaways.
Yeah.
So you don't, you know, I mean, again, this whole thing of I need a man or I need a mate, I need a boo for this particular day. And after he's gone, what about the 15th?
That's true. That's
just me. But again, even though Valentine's Day has not been my favorite holiday, you could ask me this on the 4th. Now, a couple of years ago, I would not have been so adamant about like, I'm good. But now it's because of the season I'm in my life, and I understand things now. And I've realized there's some things that I rush and some things that I probably didn't have no business getting tied up with. And guess what it's called? Life. Yeah. And you learn from it.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess I'm just being devil's advocate tonight, right?
I don't think so.
Well, I'm thinking back to, because you were talking about how, you know, knowing your own love language and the whole self-care part of it all. And I get all of that. And so, but I also remember when I didn't think that way, right? Because I was one of those who there's always a ram in the bush, right?
Yeah.
So I remember the point at which I just kind of thought to myself, okay, I'm no longer doing this whole casual dating thing. And it was very lonely. And in learning myself and in learning my own love language, I guess, of sorts, I would do things like take myself to dinner, take myself to the movies.
Absolutely.
But there were times when even that became very lonely because I was learning myself. But in learning myself, I was also at this point of, okay, now I do think I'm ready for a mate. And now that I do think I'm ready for a mate, it feels lonely again because I'm sitting already now and he's not around.
Yeah.
And I think those were the seasons where Valentine's Day was sad because, you know, I didn't have anyone maybe that I was celebrating with. So what do we say to the woman who's not there yet, right? Like that's not the season.
You know what? I would say do not neglect the ones around you. Because I think a lot of times we tend, especially on special occasions, heaven forbid if we get invited to a baby shower, forget a baby shower, a wedding, and we have nobody to go with.
Right.
Now, Mel, as long as you've known me, I love wedding cake. Like I go to weddings for the wedding cake. I love the cake. What if I have a boo or not? I go for the cake and to do the wobble, right? But I think do not, especially if they're in that particular season, do not neglect the ones around you. So if you're not in that season, like you just stated, of going to a restaurant or a movie by yourself, go out with some girlfriends. That has been the trend now. Go out with some girlfriends.
Valentine's Day.
Yes. Or maybe hang out with your parents or your kids if your kids want to hang out with you, if they're of that age.
Right.
But just do not neglect yourself.
Right.
And the ones around you.
I agree. Because even in remembering when I was, in that frame of mind where I wasn't settled on, loving myself and my own self-care and I'm okay with being alone. It was very important to have my girlfriends around, exactly. And to be able to lean in on them because there were several of us that were single. And what the one thing we didn't do was try to stay separate or try to isolate ourselves. I think that's key.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, not isolate yourself, right? If you know
make yourself vulnerable to your friends. I mean, if you're going to make yourself vulnerable in any situation, let it be known to your girlfriends, especially, like you just stated, and I didn't mean to interrupt what you were saying, Mel, but it reminds me of that movie. So Something New.
Okay.
Do you remember with Sanaa Lathan and Taraji P. Henson? Sanaa, and it was geared around Valentine's Day. Okay. So Sanaa did not have a significant other. I think everyone else at the table did. I can't remember, but they were out for Valentine's Day with their girlfriend. Just all the girls were together. And Sanaa was kind of in the funk of like, Dad, I don't have anybody again this year. I'm not married. I'm not a mom. I don't even have any prospects. I'm not on anyone's radar. So she was just feeling some kind of way. But she also, towards the end of the movie, she stepped outside of her comfort zone and she made herself available. So, but she did not neglect the circle around her.
Right. And that's so important.
It is important. I think it's very important, but because I think this is a holiday that is so commercialized, right after Christmas, there's candy hearts, there's teddy bears, roses, all kind of ads and stuff you see people advertising, and that's great. But if you do not have a mate, do not let that stop you from being your best self that particular day. Like if you have to be extra for you that day, do it.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great suggestion.
Yes, girl, put on your favorite lipstick and your dress and get off work early, whatever. Take yourself out to dinner, take yourself on a trip. Life does not stop because you do not have a mate.
Absolutely.
And I think because society has made us feel that way, like we need to have a man. Or a woman, if you're male or whatever the case may be, that you have to be with somebody.
Right.
Love yourself.
I also think about those who they're not in that situation. I think about those who they don't have a mate because their mate passed away.
Yes.
I was thinking about this particular funeral. She's actually a funeral home director in Indiana, in Southern Indiana. And for probably 2-3 years, she would invite me because she would do a Valentine celebration for individuals who had lost their mates, right? And they had maybe used her funeral home or whatever, but she would say that was her way of giving back and of connecting with them during that season. And so I had never thought about what Valentine's Day looks like for those who have lost their mate. And being able to do that event with her, I mean, it really opened my eyes to just kind of the brevity of how we experience love and how we also experience loss.
Absolutely.
And that Valentine's Day doesn't look the same for all of us.
That's right.
Because that was a demographic I truly had not given really a lot of thought to. but to be able to share with even them different ways of being able to celebrate.
Yeah.
I think is important.
It is very important.
Yeah. And so I think even with those who may be listening, that they're not in maybe this season of, I'm just single and I'm good with it. But maybe they're single because their mate passed away. The same techniques, the same things are still of use, making sure that you reach out and that you
absolutely
into your circle, that you make new traditions, right? Find new things to do. Find different ways to celebrate Valentine's Day. Like you said, maybe if they have children that live close by or grandchildren, or even if that's a day maybe in which they give back and they go and maybe they work at a shelter, but like make a new tradition.
Make a new tradition, exactly. And you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. And my mother's been a widow now for 10 years. And so that first year of everything new. And so having to create new traditions. And I will tell you, I do some things for her on Valentine's Day, to keep her busy, and so by the time she goes to bed, like, oh, wow, like it was Valentine's Day, and so we'll go out to the graveside, and put balloons on Dad's grave. And I'll let her have that time because they were together for a very long time. And, they grew up together. They experienced life together. So I get it from that standpoint of there's different type of losses.
Yeah.
And everybody grieves that different type of loss different. A breakup grief is different from a death grief.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I think there are so many different lenses, even as we look at Valentine's Day, that it could be seen in, right? For some, it may be more painful or a different type pain. I'm actually thinking of a lady who actually will be a guest very soon on the show. And I just remember her husband passed away, and we both have watched her be surrounded by this group of women.
Yeah.
And I tell them all the time, they're like the old lady gang, but they're not old ladies. And they are all so gorgeous, but they're all, pretty much retired. And they are living life to the fullest.
Yeah.
But I remember how they really came together and really lean in with her. And so even to this day, if you see one, you're probably going to see
the other,
because they've just kind of formed this pact where they're going to concerts and they're here, there, and everywhere. They got book clubs and they're doing community service together. But I think that is it's so important.
It is important.
Yeah, which
they're not letting life's losses stop them.
Yeah, which I think also goes into our purpose with Cashless, which is this collective of women, right? And women, and women being able to share, women being able to share, and being able to be vulnerable, right? And having the space to do so, right?
Absolutely.
So I think when it comes to Valentine's Day, it's no different.
It's not.
The world hasn't ended because
and it's not going to end if you do not have a mate.
But don't feel the need to isolate. Don't feel the need to just kind of sit at home and be sad. Share with someone. Share with other women you can confide in.
Absolutely. And that's just what it's about, making new traditions. I think one year I remember getting dressed up and I did my face. I put on a cute outfit and I watched a movie. And it was fun. I mean, again, it might sound quirky to some people, but that particular time, that's what I needed.
Right.
And that's what made me feel this is nice. It's chill. It's cool. And I'm those ones, I love doing things by myself. I love going out to dinner by myself, but to a movie, of course, all this was pre-COVID, of course. But again, just embrace who you are and embrace where you are at right now.
Right. I think, and lastly, if you are listening or watching, and maybe it's not you that's in that situation, but it's your girlfriend. And maybe, because everyone isn't going to just get up and get dressed or say, hey, let me just lean in and share. But pay attention.
Yeah.
You have a good girlfriend who is really going through it, then be the one that extends that branch to say, hey, let's do something. Let's do our own thing for Valentine's Day. Or let's do our own thing all of February.
Exactly. I love that.
Like, it's not even about Valentine's Day. We just doing stuff all month long to just
you're right.
To just start something different.
And can I put another disclaimer out there? If your funds are low, do not let that stop you from having a good time.
Right.
And I also think that's another thing that we as women, that we allow to stop us. Well, I don't have it in the budget, but you have stuff at home.
Right. Girl, you could have a picnic in your own living room.
Yes.
On a blanket.
Have a good time. And it's just embracing the new.
Bottle of wine.
Exactly. $2.99 at Aldi. But that's really true, is embracing the new and letting go of what has been holding you back. Yeah. I remember last year, so at that time, right when I announced my business, of course, and I became newly single. And I remember February of last year, because Valentine's Day, I think, Mel, was on a Saturday. Okay. And that was the first time I went live. And I talked about being newly single. Okay. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. Like, I cannot go back and retrieve this video. I can't go back and retrieve it. I can't, but I needed that.
Right.
And that was so freeing. Now, and that was new for me. That was very new for me. And I think that put me in a new mind space and a new mindset. For even you and I eventually having that conversation and bringing us here now to Trash It.
Yeah. So for those of you that are listening, all is not lost.
It's not.
It's life does go on.
Yeah.
With or without Valentine's Day. And matter of fact, go look up Valentine's Day. If you've never looked it up, I'm not even going to say what Valentine's Day initially stood for, but do yourself a favor. Go look it up.
Look, we look up everything else.
Yeah, because it ain't the hype, y'all. It ain't the hype. It is not the hype that we as society has placed around it.
Exactly.
So check it out. And I think we've trashed it.
I think we have trashed it.
Yes.
So enjoy this. Just enjoy the newness. Enjoy the newness of everything in life. Life is really becoming very, very short at the blink of an eye.
Right.
And we are just about two women that have taken this journey and just mixing it up different for you. We are living testimonies of what Trash It is. And we still will continue to be living testimonies of it. So we love you.
Yes, we do. We do. So if you want to follow, which we do hope you are following, we know that you are listening because we can see the downloads. But guys, make sure that you hit that little subscribe button. There's a subscribe button. I think we're going to do a tutorial about that.
I think we are.
Yeah, but there is a subscribe button. So make sure that you subscribe, to like, and you share. We are really trying to grow our social media platforms. Oh, I think Missy was trying to show it.
Right there. Right there.
We are really growing our social media channels and the podcast itself. So make sure you're following and you are subscribing. All right, guys, it's been real, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
As always, we thank our listeners for tuning in. We invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Trashed It! Podcast. You can listen to our podcast on various podcast platforms. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Trashed It! Podcast. And please chit chat with us throughout the week on our social media channels, Facebook at Trashed It and Instagram at We Trashed It.